Hello all you wonderful people, I am BuddhaCat. Welcome to the very first episode of our How to Creativerse mini-series. Today we will be covering the absolute basics of the incredible free-to-play game Creativerse. This first episode will be a bit longer than the rest of them only because I want to get all the Super Creativerse basics wrapped up in one neat little episode. Here's what we're covering today: downloading and setting up Creativerse, and that includes downloading and setting up Steam for first-time users. Creativerse free-to-play versus Creativerse Pro. What are the differences? We'll be going over worlds and how to create your very first world. We'll also talk about what to do in your first few minutes in Creativerse once you start up the very first world. We'll be going over various things like the HUD, controls, placing down your touchstone. We'll talk about different stations for the very beginning and extractors, mining cells, and much more. Lastly, we'll talk about the goals before your very first night. Also, here's what to expect in episode 2. We'll be talking about things like the death statues, mining cells in more detail, your map, claiming land, commands, creatures, weapons, armor, and basic potions. Alright, let's get into things. First things first, let's download and set up Creativerse if you haven't already. This is pretty self-explanatory, but for those who don't know much about Steam or how it works, it could get a little complicated. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of everything, first know that down below in the description, you'll find all the necessary links that you'll need for this episode. Okay, for those who have not signed up or downloaded Steam, here's what to do real quick. Either find the link for the Steam store or just go to store.steampower.com/join. Once there, fill out all the related info and click Create My Account. Next, you'll need to download the actual Steam software that allows you to buy, download, play games, as well as discovering new games, joining thousands of communities, and so much more. In the top right-hand corner, there is a green icon that says Install Steam. Click that and follow the prompts. Okay, awesome. I'm gonna assume that you're all set up and ready to go. If not, please feel free to either pause the video or finish these steps after Steam is all set up. On the Steam Store's main page, click your cursor on the search bar in the top right. Type Creativerse and select the one that says free to play. We'll be going over Creativerse Pro in a minute. Once you've selected, simply scroll down to where it says play game and click that to begin the download process. Don't worry about the DLC just yet, as you need the free to play version beforehand anyhow. After that, click on library to access the actual game. After you have installed Creativerse, you will have to accept the EULA and confirm your age and email. You can then register your email in order to receive a crafting recipe for flares that will show up in your crafting menu afterwards on all Creativerse worlds. Next, you might want to customize your player character that will represent you on all Creativerse worlds. You can choose between gender, hair types, clothing color, and more. You can change your character as many times as you'd like at any time. You should automatically be led to the character customization right away after starting Creativerse for the first time. If not, or for any changes you'd like to make later on, exit the game world and click on the gear-like symbol in the bottom left-hand corner next to your nickname or directly on your nickname. Then choose Customize. Okay, now real quick, before we get into the basics of Creativerse and everything that you need to do, what is the difference between Creativerse free-to-play version and Creativerse Pro, the DLC?
$20.
No. Other than the $20. There is quite a difference between these two. And it's not game breaking, nor is it a pay to win scheme, but there are benefits. In Creativerse free-to-play version, you can manipulate and transform the world around you. You can craft, fight, mine, build. You can tame beasts, brew potions, harvest crops, cook food, and engineer mechanical marvels. You can explore gigantic open worlds, play with friends, create masterpieces, and share your worlds with the world. Now, all of that said and done, in Creativerse Pro, it just takes it all to the next level. Create multiple worlds and customize them with advanced options such as low gravity, celestial sky, peaceful creatures, no PvP, etc. Sail the skies with an exclusive glider. That's right, you get wings. Light your way with the flashlight. Increase your load with 20 plus slots in your backpack. Now that is a huge deal to me at least. Run further with plus 100% more stamina. That is also a huge deal to me. Stake 2 claims for free in every world. We'll be going over that more in the next episode. My personal opinion, I truly believe it's worth it. And no, I am not being paid to say this, nor am I being asked by the developer to say this. I just believe in this game, and I admire that their DLC gives you more than just a Switch t-shirt for $20. I'm just kidding. I know the DLC gives you more than that. Anyway, so we've downloaded Steam, downloaded Creativerse, created our character, and set up the whole account and all that good stuff. And we've talked about the difference between the free-to-play version and Creativerse Pro DLC. Now let's get into the juicy bits. Let's create our first world. On the Creativerse main menu, go to the blue box where it says Worlds, Adventure, Store, and Settings. And you guessed it, click on Worlds. From there, you'll see a buttload of worlds created by the incredible Creativerse community. If you decide to play some of these public worlds, you can find them again super easily by clicking the Recent tab. Right next to that tab is the My Worlds tab. Click that. From there, you'll see a convenient little box with a little plus sign on a little world that says Create New World. So from there, you're going to enter the world's name, description is optional, the tags are optional, and decide whether it's public or not. Now, this is super important, guys. All right, so pay close attention. If you don't want just any random stranger on your world, uncheck the public world circle and choose your password carefully. You can change your password again at a later time. If you decide to create a public world, Creativerse makes it very easy for us admins to anti-grief the crap out of our worlds. Even if you decide to make your world not public and you choose a super awesome password, I would still default to these settings. Under basic settings, check all the circles. Check everything. Default to visitor. Disable explosive. Disable fire spread. If you have the pro settings, check no PvP. Then hit create. We'll be going over some useful commands for admins in the next episode. All right, so we're all set up. It looks beautiful.
What are we gonna do?
Where's my pickaxe?
So let's go over the first few minutes in Creativerse. At first, it may seem a little overwhelming. So you might want to just take a quick look at the general game options. Just hit escape and click on game settings. You might also want to take a look at your key bindings by hitting controls. This will also allow you to preview the many possible actions and menus available in the game. Before you do any exploring, plop your touchstone down. It's that weird little stone pressure plate looking thing. Your touchstone acts as both a teleporter and a spawn point. You can also allow other players in your world to teleport to your touchstone by pressing F on it and checking the box. Alright, is your touchstone down? Are you sure? Are you super sure? Okay, let's roam around a little bit, but not too far, okay? Get used to the controls. Get the feel of the game. Try mining some nearby items or pulling up nearby items. The more you pull up, the more you discover. The more you discover, the more items and recipes you unlock. So get some grass, get some dirt, and get some wood from the trees. Now let's quickly talk about the first items you'll want to create. First of all, let's go hunting for some very basic ingredients. Ashenwood, which is a white tree similar to birch in Minecraft. Get a bunch of wooden log blocks from that tree. Ashenwood is also covered with moss near its base, so grab a ton of that as well. Second, look for cragwood. It's a tree with brown bark. Snag the logs from that. There will also most likely be vines near the base. If not, try to find some. You'll need a lot of those, so snatch those up too. Third, try to get up to the tops of the trees by either nerd pulling up, or if you have Creativerse Pro, you can simply fly up by pressing G to expand your wings. Once you're up top, grab a bunch of the leaves. Just grab as many as you can. Also, look for flowers of any kind. Red, yellow, blue, etc. Another handy item that you'll eventually need up in the tops of the trees is beeswax. Snatch all those items up and head down carefully. Lastly, grab any mushrooms you see. The most common and easy to spot are the red mushrooms. Brown mushrooms are also quite common, but they're found on the side of dirt and grass blocks opposed to the tops of the blocks like red mushrooms. You can check out all the stuff in your inventory by pressing E, but we want to go into the crafting menu, so press Q. Let's craft a wooden sword. to replace that crappy twig one you get at the very beginning. Trust me, that will do no good. After we craft the wooden sword, let's craft some moss torches. Trust me, you're gonna need them. Now, did you get your sword and you got your moss torches? All right, I think we are ready to go cave diving. So let's go explore. Let's try to find a nearby cave, which basically looks like a giant hole in the ground. This is where the torches come into play. Now, if you have Creativerse Pro, you can press L to turn on your flashlight, but even that gets annoying eventually, as it's still not quite bright enough to get your work done effectively. Mine up as much stone as you can. You'll start to notice that you're unlocking a lot of recipes. So press Q to get back into your crafting menu. Let's talk about stations and extractors real quick. Stations are various crafting machines that specialize in the creation of certain items. The two most important in the very beginning are the processor and the forge. The processor is a placeable crafting station that chops, squeezes, and extracts or transforms many different materials into crafting components or refined items like slabs, rods, slopes, seeds, or pigments. The forge is a crafting station that you will have to build or craft yourself, where you can smelt ores obtained from nodes or process other materials, so it is then possible to use those further in your crafting menu or in the processor. Now, the next super important thing that you're gonna need while you're down there in the cave are extractors. There are several different extractors, but we're only gonna focus on the basic one right now. Extractors are required to harvest ore from nodes, as you cannot pull complete nodes from the ores, such as coal, obsidian, iron, diamond, lumite, and you cannot get those with your gauntlet. So go ahead and craft yourself a processor. If you have stone and wood to spare, click F on your processor and make some stone slabs and wood slabs. You'll need 2 of each to craft 1 extractor. So by now, you probably run into a problem where you're not able to pull up certain blocks, such as bedrock. This is because you need to get a stone mining cell. Now, we're going to go over mining cells in a lot more detail in the next episode, but really quick, mining cells are an all-purpose tool for mining rocks and harvesting blocks and materials, except for ores. Some blocks require more powerful mining cells. To craft your first mining cell, the stone mining cell, you'll need 4 stone, 2 wooden slabs, 2 mushrooms of any one kind, 5 coal, and 2 flowers of any one kind. Okay, so make sure while you're doing this, keep an eye on the world's time in the top right-hand corner of your screen. If it's getting close to night, make a mental note of where your cave is, where you're working on, grab your processor and forge, make sure they're not working on anything first, and press T to teleport right back to your touchstone. Make a quick house or shelter. Nothing fancy, unless you're like me. You just don't want to get caught out at night with all those creepy night creatures. If you followed my steps, you should be able to craft some nice stuff by now, such as wooden walls and floors. You can get a table and a chair and a bed. You can make some thatch wall and thatch floor, which will make some carpet, and so on. If you don't know how to unlock these items, trust me, I'm not going to bore you with the details. Simply use your processor and start to experiment a little. Start making vines into twine, leaves into shredded leaves, flowers into pigments, and so on. Use your forge to make some melted wax. Down in the description is the Creativerse Wikia that has tons and tons of amazing useful information, including recipes. Alright guys, this is going to be it for our very first episode of our Creativerse how-to mini-series. I really hope this helped you guys out a little bit. If you feel I left anything out, please let me know down in the comments and I will address them in the next video. If you have any more questions, write it down below and I'll either comment back with an answer or I'll address it in future videos. In our next episode, like I said, we'll be talking about death statues, different mining cells, your map and claiming land, different commands, different creatures, weapons, armor, and basic potions. If you like this video, please do me a favor and give me a big old fat thumbs up because it truly means the world to me. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support in the past Creativerse videos. I cannot even express how much that means to me. And hey, if you haven't already, be a part of the fun in the community by pulling that subscribe button and become an official Patriot. Until next time, I'm BuddhaCat and I will see you all later. Goodbye. See ya. Bye.